Gracias, come again. Season 3 is in full swing. Puerto Rico's in the house today.
Yes, it is.
Welcome, Berto Colón.
Gracias. Gracias. Thank you so much. How are you?
How are you feeling today?
My daughter graduated this past week, and there's so much going on. Dutton Ranch is out, and so many things are happening. I have a walk next week, so yeah, I'm feeling excited,
Energized.
but focused. It's like every time every day I wake up, there's a new agenda. There's something new to do. So yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you for having me.
I feel like I know you. I've been seeing you on TV for so long.
Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah.
I don't always like your character, the shit your characters do, but I'm here to like you as a person.
Thank you. We probably crossed paths and, grew up in New York City, so I'm sure that, traveling around, sneaking into clubs when we were younger, I'm sure we might have crossed paths somehow.
Now I'm squinting my eyes. I'm like, maybe.
Maybe.
But you were born in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Born and raised in Puerto Rico, and then I moved. My mom had come here for work sometime in the early 80s, and she was a nurse at the VA in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
So she had kind of like a natural progression step to the United States via that employer with the VA, and she took a chance, came here to she had nothing set, but she just the connection, and got a job and interviewed and
Single mom?
Single mom at the time. My parents are divorced, but she remarried in the 80s to my stepfather Frank. And
who came from Puerto Rico? You and mom?
So mom came first.
Okay.
Mom, it's three of us from the original marriage, and mom decided at that time to come here and sort of get a better life, provide for us, and then we followed.
Right?
Establish herself a little bit better. Puerto Rico. She was doing well. My mom always did well. I mean, she was a federal nurse for a VA in Puerto Rico.
Oh.
That was
Había chavo.
That was no había mucho chavo, but my mom was super amazing nurse. She's such a caretaker, and she loves people, and
she's still with us?
She's still with us.
God
She's
bless.
still with us. She's actually visiting. She's at the house. I have her staying in a Airbnb nearby because my house has been very crowded the last 2 weeks.
How did she take that as a Latina mom?
She loves
She's
that.
okay with it?
She loves that because you know what? She's only given up her spot for my in-law, mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, so that's okay.
Okay.
You know.
you know what I mean.
That's okay. No, and she's traveling with my aunt, her sister, and my stepfather Frank, and
they need room. They need
room, and my mother-in-law was willing. We have kind of like what we call a playroom in our house, and we have kind of like those very old bunk beds or very old like pull-out beds that you had back from like the 70s. But that's a little bit awkward, So she's got a little.
She's
Airbnb,
happy with the Airbnb.
Airbnb nearby, yeah, right by the beach.
It met her standards.
It met her standards.
Because mom, they'd be like, ¿qué es esto?
No, ella estuvo super contenta. She was very happy.
Qué chulo. I'm glad she's
happy.
happy.
And she's by the beach, so she steps out. She's on that Raritan Bay or whatever.
Oh, she's chilling
in the Highlands, so she's enjoying this one.
Do you remember being in Puerto Rico as a kid?
Oh my God, how could I forget? It's the basis for everything. I treasure, and I'm so grateful for all those years. My father stayed in PR. I stayed with my brothers in PR up until the 8th grade.
Also,
went to a very good
you
school.
remember.
Oh yeah, no, this is. I still have recurring dreams of riding dirt bikes and. Three-wheelers and surfing and my days fishing with my father.
Oh,
and
the surfing
Boy
started
Scouts
in Puerto Rico?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
very.
dope.
My father was a
Crash boat?
Nah, we haven't done crash, but we were more of a Isabela. Hobos is our spot.
Okay.
And then if you keep going past Hobos, there was a couple of spots back there and a secret spot and a couple others, and then Rincon was more of our Marias and Marias and domes. Table Rock, so a lot of that coast more towards there, but never crash boat. I don't know why we never really ventured there. My father surfed it a lot in the 70s. Yeah.
How dope is that you come from a family that has surfing? I feel like for Dominicans it's not a thing.
Yeah.
So
you have a few good beaches. I've been to the Arco.
Oh no, we have great beaches.
You have a few good surfing beaches too.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Playa Caribe in La Capital, you could die there.
Yeah. And
when I was little, I wasn't allowed to go in the water. It was just like people surfing. That I remember.
Very rough. Usually a lot of currents associated with big surf. Kind of like that suction that happens when the wave shapes, and if you have rocks or if you have channels or if you have whatever, depending on the structure of the floor, the bottom of the the shore.
Okay.
Yeah, it's treacherous and it's dangerous, but that's why you got to be a good swimmer, and that's why getting out there on a surfboard is pretty much the only way you can do it.
I caught a wave one time, and I could tell you this, but it was the most. I still remember the feeling. It was just like, I'm flying, but I'm on water.
Yeah.
It was one time and one time only, but it was fly.
My father always told us it's the closest thing you'll have to God on earth. Like just dropping in and getting in and feeling that the rush, the energy, the sensation that you feel is it's an out of body deal. It's pretty much it's nature, so that makes it's not like anything else you can do out there. Because I think maybe jumping out of an airplane in a parachute, perhaps, and these guys that are doing that craziness with the flying suits now. But other than that, yeah, then that's.
Déjame en el agua, please.
See, and I don't know what the percentage is there, but I'd feel better, even though it's not our environment, right? I mean, we're in another environment, and we're not natural to the water, but yeah, I think it's the closest thing, and it's a great feeling. Once you surf, you cannot go back.
Do either one of the girls have interest?
I you know what? It's so many things that they're bombarded with. I wish. I was talking to them about this the other day. When we were kids, we grew up with our parents doing activities outside, and now these kids nowadays are growing with so many things being fed to them through.
Devices?
So yes, I've put them in the water. I've had them with me. I've actually taken them out in Brazil, Puerto Rico. We go to Buzios. We've been going to Buzios for the last 2-3 years, and I've taken them out in the water. And the closest they came to, I think my oldest got up a couple of times, but we did a session, a sunset session. And she got pretty hyped because she was out there, turned around, and the colors and the sun, and as it was dropping, and she caught a wave, and it was like that, it just, I think she got close to the feeling that I'm describing to you, and she's amped about it, but it's not something that has kind of like called her back again, which I'm kind of bummed out about, but I just got to keep trying, just got to keep trying to disengage them from the electronics and engage
those devices,
them with
they have a chokehold on our kids.
My God, it has been the hardest thing I've done. Being a dad has been the hardest, and that has not. That has been it hasn't helped at all. It has been. My mom and I have been talking about that quite a bit, or a lot, in the last 4 years, especially when she comes over and kind of gets a sense. Yeah, So yeah, it's been very difficult. I think it's one of the things that they say that every generation has, higher or more challenges than the previous, but this is unprecedented. Being a parent these days is very hard. Very hard.
To say the least, right?
To say the least. Yeah.
And then landing in the Bronx from Puerto Rico.
So landing in the Bronx.
How shocking was that?
The first spot I landed, nothing against Queens, but Mom's first deal here, whatever, she had some kind of house or some apartment opportunity that came up, was in Queens and Elmhurst. And when we first came, it was just the middle child and me. Mm-hmm. The youngest stayed with Dad, and Elmhurst was not very friendly, very welcoming. I think the first winter, I got jumped or picked up by a bunch of Colombians waiting outside to go to IS 61. I think it was
your own people, the
Colombians. Yeah, I was like, I thought we were Latino. No, Colombians jacked me up, picked me up, kind of by both arms, and buried me head first into
snow?
like a snow. Kind of like a snowbank that had been piled up on this, and that's not a very clean snow either.
At all.
And,
it was yellow?
And it was quite the shock. But then we found the spot in the Bronx. We looked and we moved in there, and it was great. I had plans already when I had been kind of thinking about moving in with her, that I was playing I started playing football in Puerto Rico.
American football.
Yeah, American football. And I transitioned from swimming and basketball, and once I stumbled upon football, I went absolutely crazy. And so I had been watching this show, Scholastic Sports America, on ESPN at the time, and I figured that if I was going to have a shot at a university or a scholarship, that I might have a better shot doing that from high school in the States. And so I sort of had that idea in mind, and that's what I did. Yeah. So when we went to the Bronx, I did 1 year. I had to repeat the 8th grade.
Oh, what was happening? Yo estaba
medio loco. I was a little bit crazy in the 8th grade.
That's what I wanted you to tell me.
I was a little bit crazy in the 8th grade. I was in a big private.
Was it the girls? What was
No,
it?
you know, it was just the hyperactivity, the craziness. You know, thank God I had all these sports and all these things that I was doing because I was definitely a very hyperactive child. And later on in life, I got diagnosed with the ADHD and whatnot.
I was
and
just gonna ask you that. I'm like,
yeah, it's like a superpower. I really do believe that. You know, and so basically, I forget what the deal was. I mean, I think they didn't give me a diploma, but they just. I don't know I don't know how that was worked. They were supposed to let me start the 9th grade, but it didn't happen that way. And, you know, in hindsight, I think it was a good thing to reclass me. Now there's a term for what happened.
Is that what happened?
It was a good thing to reclass me because, you know, I think I wasn't ready. Physically maybe, but mentally and emotionally I was in another spot. Gave me an opportunity to regroup. I was now in a class with my middle brother, so the both of us went through 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th together, and there was a lot of benefits to that. So, you know what? In hindsight, it is what it is. I learned.
Was supposed to happen.
Yeah, you know, it is a little bit embarrassing. You know, it was a little bit shameful when people would ask the question sometimes, but you push through, right? I mean, it happened, and you face it, and yeah, I mean, me colgué, ¿qué vamos a hacer? Me colgué y ahora voy para adelante.
Me quemé, te quemaste de curso.
Sí, me quemé del curso. En Puerto Rico dice que te colgaste, brother, te colgaste. Pero
my brother too. Don't worry about it. I feel like every family has someone that it happens.
You know, I think I up until probably after high school, the secrets had not been revealed, and I think my father also got left back. I think in high school at some point. So things like that run in the family, like you said.
But can I say something?
Yeah.
When we graduated. You know, we have kids in America that graduate and can't read.
Yeah.
So they were like, nah, you're not ready. And
Listen,
it benefited us.
It benefited us. I remember my first paper in college was a D minus. I might as well almost not have even handed it in. You know, there's a lot of blows in life. You know, there's a lot of things that you got to get through in life, and it really, you know, this is the wisdom that we have now when we look back on that. Like, we can recall how hard that was at the moment, but then in hindsight, it's what happens afterwards that counts. It doesn't even matter what the issue, what got you there. It's how you got through it. So for me, there have been a few of those. That was one wake-up call, you know, and you get past it. You know, my mom handed me amazing responsibilities when I first came here. I had to drop off my brothers in their school, and then I went off to intermediate. So there was a lot of good things that came from learning to be responsible, you know.
And crazy that you say that, because as children of immigrants and people that come to this country, when we come, we're like mini adults.
Yeah.
We don't get to be the little kids. It's just like, aquí está tu llave.
See, latchkey. I was just gonna say that latchkey kids. They have a title for everything. And you just get through with it. I mean, I never saw my mom. My mom was out of the house every day by 5.
And you made it happen, right?
Yeah, we did fine. We did great. My brothers all thrived. Carlos, Gia are fantastic. My mother remarried. I have the youngest, Anthony. He thrived. He's doing great. We're all grown, full adults now with families and kids, and you know, we have our upbringing to thank for that. You know,
that's a fact. I say it all the time. I was translating from my mom as a child. You know how bold I am, Berto? I talk to anybody, anywhere I go.
Yeah.
I'm not shy.
Yeah, and it was almost like a duty. That's, as a kid, you had to do things like that if you were, you know, because if your parents probably came here to work and probably didn't have the education, or maybe they did or they didn't. They probably didn't even have a chance to pick it up. Whatever it was kind of on you. Like, I'm the oldest of 4 or 5, if you when you count my stepbrother. And there was no shame. I was told all the time, hey, you better be a good example. You better be this. You better be that. You got your younger brothers looking at you. You know, I feel like sometimes you tell that to kids these days and they're like, no, I don't have to do that. I'm like, no, yes, you do. Yes, you do. So, you know what? I'm like very proud of the way that I was brought up. It serves me every day.
And it's dope, because it's just like, you learn from, you don't have to wait to go to college to become an adult.
You know, and it's about pushing yourself and challenging yourself every day and being better every day. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to live and strive for meaningful things. No, not anything expedient, because expedient stuff runs out. You know, you got to it's the long game. My father says, the long game, always the long game. Always look ahead, you know.
Hay que verlo.
Hay que fijarse, ¿sabes? Cuando uno está guiando en un carro, uno no se fija en el carro que está delante. So you got to look through the car and see what's happening 2-3 cars ahead. I love that analogy with traffic, because My daughter is starting to drive now, and she's so sick
How scared are you?
of hearing my nonsense all the time.
What you be telling her?
It's like, same thing my father used
She
to
trying
say.
to speed, or what
This is not a toy. This is an actual weapon. If you don't know how to, all the advices, all the cliches, all the things that you say. Be careful with the speeding. Lead foot this, all that stuff. Be patient. All of it is very, very interesting. So I'm just repeating myself all the time, and I'm sure they're sick of it.
But you know what? She's going to remember, because it's the things that our parents repeated to us all the time.
Yeah.
That are in blame. Like, as a wife, I'm like, las mujeres tienen que limpiar, tienen que ser de su casa, tienen que cocinar. Like, I remember, like, I execute my wifely duties based on what my mother told me. So it's like, yeah, she said it all the time. Hay que ser limpia, no puede tener casa sucia, la ropa tiene que estar limpia, hay que estar peinada. All that stuff stuck with me, and it molded who I am and how I operate till this day.
Of course. You make a referendum on your life every day. Parenting, being a good partner, you look to your examples of those things in your early life, and I think you apply what's applicable, and then you bring your own piece to it,
Y el dos sazoncitos.
El dos sazoncitos, and
like, let me sprinkle my own.
My daughter is at that point. Both of them are at that point in their lives where they're seeking autonomy at all costs, and they don't.
How old are they?
17 and 16, soon to be 18 and
With
17.
That age, it's like, I'm not a kid, I'm not a woman, I'm like in a weird
and I'm trying to do my best to let them know. Yeah, I respect it. I love the fact that but there's just so much that they gotta. Leaders, I told her the other day that leaders at some point were listening to somebody else too. Oh, yeah. They weren't, you can be a natural born leader, but along the way, you had to take some information and some guidelines from somebody else who had done it before you.
Yeah, that wisdom.
Somebody else has.
Yeah. Pass it down.
There's nothing wrong with confronting the unknowns and throwing yourself out there and seeing what things, what can happen when you don't know, and just going for it, right? Instinctively. But along the way, there are things that you kind of got to, crash and burn here and there. Maybe listen. Maybe listen to how you could have done that differently. Un poquito nada más. You're not going to apply everything. It's not 100%. But if you kind of like I said to her, 10 to 15% every time, then you'll be fine.
And I still remember being that age.
Yeah.
And I thought I was, no mira que me dijeran, don't talk to me, don't tell me nothing. I know everything. I knew shit.
Yeah, no, which is good. That's the thing. That's the attitude. I believe that. That's the attitude that you got to have. It's just, you got to sprinkle it with a little bit of humility from time to time, and just kind of like sit back. And especially when you're doing something that's not quite working out, and somebody else can offer, I feel like I can relate to her so much, because I do remember how difficult it was to tell me things. But one of the big eye-opening things is like when you actually took in what was being said to you and it worked out. It's like it
You're like,
it made it fortified, or what's the word I'm trying to look for? It kind of like cemented the idea that it was okay to kind of step back and analyze a little bit, think before you jump next time, based on the little knowledge that you were given. So.
No, your football dreams shattered.
Yes.
Shattered.
Yeah. So I loved it. I still love it to this day. Sports. I think sports gave me the foundation for literally everything in my life: the discipline, the effort, the camaraderie, the sense of being part of a bigger part than you. But football was something that came into my life. I fell in love with it, did everything that I wanted to do, ended up getting a scholarship to Fordham University.
Oh, where?
Yeah,
I like that.
But I blew my knee out my senior year of high school.
How did that happen? Was it playing?
The dumbest.
Don't tell me it wasn't playing.
You know what? It was crazy. It was playing.
Okay.
I had a phenomenal junior year. They have brought me up to varsity sophomore year, which I'm very proud of. I mean, I was a good hitter. I had good speed. I was pretty strong for my size and height. And, things worked well. I went up to varsity sophomore year. Junior year was another good year. We took our school from like a 2-9 season to a 7-2 or something like that. We had a winning season my sophomore and junior year. And then football camp, senior season. I had just finished telling everybody we were going to get to the championships in our huddle, and we got to practice. And in camp, you have two-a-days, what they call two-a-days. You practice in the morning, you practice at night. And we always go long. We were going crazy long. It was already nighttime, and stupid drill with freaking bags, and I kind of laid into someone, and I feel like they kind of gave ground, and I fell forward, and I torqued. It's a torque injury, so it's like you kind of get
twist.
My cleat got stuck, and I tried to push off of that, and when I turned, I kind of torqued on top of the knee, and so you know what? It was so crazy because I had so many things lined up for that year, and they were like, I was like an all city or an all borough pick prior to preseason, et cetera, and boom, it goes away. So it's just another one of those deals that you just have to get through. You know, that's why I say, like, my journey has been filled with super highs, and lows, and somewhere in the middle, you kind of traverse all those moments and all those things, and you come out so much better on the other side when you confront it with with courage and with your head held high. And I still did enough that I actually was able to go to Fordham University. I got recruited by a few different schools. Fordham was the one that I decided on. And, they gave me money. They gave me free education, basically, and I went. And unfortunately, when I got there freshman year, I got hurt again. And so that was the other knee this time, and so I had to redshirt that year. But then after that, I cruised. The football dream was kind of over. You know, I did get an invite to the Combines, which, if you ask me, one of my biggest regrets in life is not going to that. I just felt like, I don't know what I felt. I felt like maybe I was not ready, or at that time, I think my dreams I had already kind of focused on acting and doing other things. I had been in college already for 5 years. So
was it the knee injuries
that
made you think of acting?
Yeah, you know, the knees kind of gave me perspective, and I'm like, listen, I'm going to go compete with guys who've never been hurt, who have never had time off, who are super fast, highly recruited, and I'm just going there to see what those guys are doing. I didn't go. I wish I would have. You know, I really do wish I would have. You never know what can happen, right, when you do things like that. But it's one of the things that I regret not doing. But nonetheless, my head was already in a different space.
Sure.
And
it was already in acting?
Yeah, I was already thinking about it. You know, I had done a couple of like student films when I was in college. I actually, as part of my extra courses, or I was on a path for a double major because of the extra year. And so I took film and some theater courses and some film and writing courses. And one of my best friends, Mark Rodriguez, he had already been studying directing at SUNY Purchase, and I got involved with his films, his projects, his thesis, and I found people in the city, and I started working with, you know, NYU thesis films and NYU student films, and graduated into other, you know, acting classes and things in the city, and eventually just.
Oh, so you were busy with acting.
I started kind of dipping my feet, right? Kind of dipping into that world and going in, and
not just your toe, but
just the whole foot. I mean, I had one foot on one side and one foot on the other. I had the pressures of graduating school and I needed a job. So I ended up working for New York Life for like a year and a half or two.
The insurance?
The insurance company.
How good were you at selling?
I was okay.
You were okay?
I was okay. You know, my father was an insurance salesperson, so I felt like I had enough of the.
Did he work for New York Life?
Yes, I did. He didn't. He worked for Blue Shield Blue Cross at the time in Puerto Rico. Okay. And I kind of always been a salesperson, I guess you can say. You know, I had the personality for it and whatnot. But like anything, when you're learning the product that you're selling and what you're doing, it's kind of like you got to navigate those early years, right? I definitely was not fully focused on that. I just kind of was doing it to make sure that I did the next thing. I had school loans to pay bills and whatnot, and there was an expectation of you just gotta higher education. You went to Fordham U, you gotta graduate, you gotta go to work. So it taught me a lot. You know, I was going around selling life insurance and going door to door, cold calling. You know,
door to door.
Door to door. Once you get the appointment, it's door to door.
Oh, okay, so what you're saying. So
but the cold calling starts with the cold call. You know, you got to make 100 calls to get the one appointment, and so it's kind of like translates perfectly to auditioning, because auditioning is like you go on 100 auditions, you may get 5 callbacks, hopefully. So again, there was a lot of things that I definitely got from that job, but I definitely didn't. Once I kind of felt what I was feeling at the time, which is essentially, look, I'm doing this for the wrong reasons, right? I still have this dream, this idea in the back of my head that I want to pursue anyway.
It was already built up in your head?
Yeah, it was already built up in my head, and I'm kind of doing the correct thing, I guess.
What's expected?
What's expected,
like,
yeah,
okay,
but
you
it
have
was
this
not,
degree.
it definitely did not have my heart in that. And so once I quit, I just went all in. Had to work somehow, so that's how I got into waitering and bartending. But definitely
You
started.
did good waitering and bartending.
I did great. I did great. I got super lucky. Gracias. I got super lucky. So I was a waiter first, but then I started bartending, and that really got me into bigger venues.
Here in New York?
Yeah. And I got into the nightlife scene and the nightclubs.
Give me a couple places I might know.
So look,
Berto,
I worked at, I don't know if you remember Ruby Falls.
I remember the name. Ruby Falls.
The famous 29th Street when we had, I guess it was Crowbar, or there was like a few different clubs there. So I was part of that original crew of Rubies. But I guess, and then Avalon, which was the old Limelight, was there for years. That
really?
kind of gave me the rep to be able to go anywhere else. And then I opened Lavo. The opening of Lavo was big. Like I made crazy money at Lavo bartending.
What?
But it was a good way, and by then we already had kids, and so I needed to.
Oh, you were very early.
I already had kids, and I was coming into the city Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, working some crazy hours, probably 12 hours, 10 hours, and I actually worked in Hoboken as well at the W. So I was doing Fridays was a double shift, Thursday was a single, and then Saturday was another single that sometimes went into the morning when I did the after hours shift. So it was very intense for a few years there. Made some good money, hustled a lot, man. Like,
I can imagine.
It was a struggle. Like my wife, I remember one of the.
This is your current wife?
My current wife.
She was
at the time.
She's
she was
been
the
there
girlfriend.
from the beginning.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, she done seen it all.
She's seen me through every step.
I
mean, we met in college. We were dating in college. We graduated. She's half Puerto Rican, half Brazilian. Her mom is Puerto Rican. Her father's not with us anymore. Okay. God rest his soul. Humberto, also named the same way as I am. My middle name and his first name the same. And she's seen me. She's seen the whole process. The whole process. She's the rock, man.
How important has she been?
Instrumental, essential.
As a wife, as a wife.
Just as a person, as a wife, as a partner. She's the best mom. She's so patient. She's so different from me. I think that's part of the reasons why we click so much. We have our struggles, we have our problems, but we always land on one. And we love those girls, and we love each other, and that's what counts, that's really all that matters. I could not be here. I would not be here if it wasn't for her,
And the reason I ask you is because I am a strong believer that a woman can make you or break you.
Yeah. I mean, look, my parents were divorced, but that doesn't. They never made that a factor in the life of me and my brothers. But there's something that you learn about that struggle. As good as they navigated it, I would not want to be I don't want to be a divorced. I don't want to be co-parenting from two different places.
So much drama, right?
The unity, the family structure, the family unit is so important. And I am not judging, and plenty of people, including my parents, but it's what I want. I want to always have that. And I'm grateful because, her career has been tough too. She's an attorney. She went through, she graduated Fordham, then she went to Albany Law, and then she went through her struggles of getting established and figuring out what she wanted to do, if she wanted to, go in the courtroom route or be kind of like a house attorney, what they call it. And she chose that route because she also wanted to be a mom and she wanted to have more of a steady deal, but at the same time, use her degree, her hard and earned degree, and she's extremely successful. So we're very lucky. We're very lucky. And look, she carried me for many years. Let me just get that out and just say that.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, of course we can. The struggles that I had when I was making no money, and at one point I remember losing some of these nightlife jobs were not for me anymore. I definitely was a little bit deflated, and the girls were probably 2 and 3. I was bringing them in to daycare, not that I was drunk, but in that environment. And I used to work at the time where there was still smoking allowed indoors.
The smell. Oh.
Which it's crazy to me that we no longer have that. Like I totally forgot about that because it was disastrous. Like I've never been a smoker.
It was disgusting.
It was absolutely disgusting. And all those years of that, so I remember people probably giving me like a bit of a look, dropping these girls off with like barely any sleep, and so there were signs.
Yeah.
And when I couldn't do it anymore, I had to kind of scale back. And the good thing about bartending in New York and going to Jersey is that there's that 4 a.m. versus 2 a.m. cutoff, and in Jersey is the 2 a.m. cutoff. So those 2 hours
made a big difference.
Oh my God, because it really wasn't 2; it was more like 4. And then in Jersey, once I was near where I work, blah, 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 I can just get home. But she carried me through many, many, many years of, the lean years when I wasn't making any money as an actor. And that's not easy. I feel like, there's a lot of partners who, a lot of wives and husbands of actors, they step up and they do that, in the beginning.
You have to.
Yeah. It's embarrassing to have to admit it, probably more as a man. Not saying that it's not the other way around, but for me, it's tough to talk about because it makes me uncomfortable to this day. There's such a natural, there's such an essence of who I am as being a provider, and I probably made it more of a big deal than it needed to be.
Oh yeah, you probably gave her a hard time, and she's like, "Yo, let me just do what I gotta do, man. Yeah. Let me support you." No
and at the same time, there's that guilt that you carry around, and then that causes problems because you're walking around with this perception of things that no one's asking that of. No one was asking that of me. Like she was completely happy doing what she was doing. And
she's dope. I like that.
But when I got to turn it around and when things changed, it definitely. It was nice having that perspective of being on the other side, and now we're fully supporting each other, and we can fully support each other without
so fly,
the need.
Right?
It's like you pull each other up in those times when you need it. That's what partners do.
Yeah, that is marriage.
Marriage that's what that is.
Like, yo, you got a dream. Do what you got to do. I'm gonna hold shit down. Don't worry about it.
Nah, yeah.
Focus on your dream.
You pull each other up in times. It's always gonna fluctuate. And thankfully we've always had the emotional support, that mental support. So I'm grateful. Lara,
I'm so happy that you're with your day one.
Yes, my day one.
I love that.
I definitely test her. I definitely test her a lot, but
I don't doubt it. Un puertorriqueño.
Sí, ella también. Very strong personality.
I don't doubt
it. Very highly intelligent person. Who is just no nonsense.
You see right through the bullshit?
Yeah, man, cuts right through the bullshit all the time. All the time. It's like, listen, stop, just stop.
Beto, para.
Yeah. I've heard it before. Let's just do this right now like this and be done. Like, it's good, solid. So important to have that support structure. I'm very grateful for my wife.
We wouldn't
Lara.
have Berto Colón.
No, you would not.
If the missus didn't hold it down.
No, you would not.
I love it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, roles. Like, when did you start landing roles? When were you like, yo, I'm an actor?
So, those lean years are, they're comprised of going into the city, trying things that don't work, the off Broadway plays that you do, the student films, trying different agents, trying different managers, studying with a bunch of different people, right?
Putting in the work and going on these auditions that probably started with probably some random commercials. And then, I remember the first type of representation I had was commercial representation. I landed with CESD. That was probably around 2001. I had landed this crazy international Grolsch commercial for the beer. Oh. And it didn't pan out, but that got me in the door at Cunningham at CESD. And then after that, a little bit of off-Broadway work, right? A couple of student films here and there. And then I was, at the time, I was doing these kind of actors connection readings that you do in front of agents and whatnot. And then I started to find different people to study with, et cetera, et cetera. And then soap operas. Novelas. I did All My Children a couple times here and there. And then you get into the co-star roles, into the small TV roles, and then you slowly graduate into the guest star roles. And for me, to summarize all those years, that was kind of the trajectory. And then I would say probably when I did Orange Is the New Black, that's kind of like when things
the role of Cesar. Cesar came into came out, and the world received Cesar very well, very well. That was a great ensemble. Netflix had just gotten going. And that kind of put me in a place where now the auditions, the people I was getting in front of, right, those was significant. There were opportunities that I had not seen before, not just from the standpoint of the level of the work, but also money, right? A little bit of money here and there, and maybe not needing to work every weekend. And then once you do that, it's kind of like it just reshaped my focus into kind of like understanding how I needed to navigate those waters now. Then came representation. I landed my first agent, which I was actually freelancing with like 3 or 4. God, it was like Hardin Curtis and a couple of different other agents. As I was kind of navigating those waters with them, I had no written contracts with them. But then I landed with my manager first, Monica Villarreal, and then after some time of freelancing, I landed with Paradigm. And my agent, Matt Kaplan, him and Monica together have been kind of like my steadies, my constants in my career. They've helped guide me through it. But, once you're in that position, now you're in another level because you have real representation, that
is different.
These people are actually, they leverage you in a different position because they themselves have the reputation of a higher level clientele, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like a mutually beneficial, and it's needed. It's how you get vetted. You know what I mean?
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Can we go back? Orange. Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Rodriguez was here. Dasha Polanco was here.
Sí.
I've done a couple of the girls, but to have Cesar here, like, how dope was that show for Latinos? Like, how
for New York actors,
well,
because
New York
it started
general,
off as a story of the one story for oh my God, and these characters are so old to me now, but I remember it was more of a central piece.
I'll be rewatching it currently, so I'm like,
listen, and to this day there's still people discovering it, so it started as a central piece of the story of this woman who got imprisoned, but then it really became an ensemble piece.
Oh, it did.
And when I got to set, there was like maybe 10 or 12 New York actors that I had grown to seen, and Bob, and this one, that
fist
one.
bumping everybody?
Fist bumping, and like, oh my God, like this is and we shot here. It was all, it was being produced here, shot here. So it was like
Where was it shot?
All over, man. We had spots in Jersey, Queens. The main jail was upstate.
Okay.
I forget the name of the town, but it was just looking back on it, it was such a crazy time because Netflix was not what it is now.
It was a baby, right?
But it was Hammer Lily, House of Cards, and Orange is the New Black were the 3 main shows that kind of put Netflix on the map. And we were part of that. So, I remember one of the premieres was at the Botanical Gardens right across the street of Fordham University in the Bronx, where I had not long ago been going to school. So there was a lot of really kind of full circles that I had closed at that point, and I felt like now I'm playing in a different, now I'm swimming in a different pond, so to speak, and there's a lot of big fish up here now, and the competition level is been raised. So like I said, it changed everything. I think from that point on, then other jobs came along, and things got juicy after that.
You got busy.
Yeah, I got busy. There was some real nice, to highlight a few, Show Me a Hero was an amazing series for me to be on. When They See Us, I got to work, of course, closely with Ava DuVernay.
That name alone.
Yeah, I mean, she's
a genius at what she
does. Amazing. And then I guess probably I can jump over everything else, all the guest stars and all the smaller roles. But then when I landed on Power Book 2, which ironically enough, I had read for the role of Tommy years prior when Power first came out. Did not work out.
can see it. You could have pulled it off too.
Well, perhaps, but I mean,
he owns it. But
he owns that role. He owns that
medio
role.
Loco.
See, no, that was phenomenal. I mean, my hat's off. But I guess you know what? Like anything else, and you never walk out of an audition with your head down. There's an opportunity for the next, and I guess that put me in Courtney's radar, Courtney Kemp's radar, because she. I mean, in fact, I know this is one of the things she mentioned when she hired me for Power Book 2 to play the role of Cesar, and that started out as a minimum of whatever it was, 3 or 4 or guest star role, and then literally she said, "We really thought we were only going to do one or two with you, and you've brought this to light." And then they made me a series regular for season 2.
They said we want Poppy all the time.
Yeah, and I had actually gone in and read for a different role. As I'm walking out of the audition, my agent and my manager called me. They have something different that they're thinking about for you. They want you to play the husband to Mary J. Blige.
How random was that?
Literally, that was the call. So that's not gonna work. I was like, oh shit, okay, whatever. Because you get a call. I literally was like 5 minutes. I'm walking out, and usually that's either they want you to come back and reread, or they want you to come back and read for something else. I'm walking out. Listen, that's not gonna work out, but this is what they want to do with you. Because I guess as the process of writing happens, you have to write 13 episodes, but you get the one pilot to get the green light. You may have 4 or 5, and then you'll write 7 as you start shooting. Mm-hmm. So this all kind of developed in that first season, and then the rest is history. Season 2 was a series regular, and that was a life-changing role. I think it Courtney gave me the reins to sort of do what I wanted, which is really interesting.
Within the character.
Yeah, within the character, because it was like, we had an idea what this was going to be, and as we write for you, or now that we've seen you in these, we're going to keep adding and adding and adding. And I felt the sense really at that point that I had arrived, like there's no going back now. These doors are open.
Like, this is it.
Yeah, I got to keep going. And so, tremendous success.
Now, that was a dope character.
Another staple franchise for Stars, right? And I mean, crazy good writing. I mean, the show went for 4 seasons. I was able to do 3 of the 4, and it left a mark. It was a memorable character. And I felt like that definitely put me in a. That elevated my status.
It's like you kept going up and up.
Yeah,
and up. That's dope.
Then I got to shoot the Penguin. Then I got the Night Agent. I also did series regular for that for season 2 of the Night Agent on Netflix. Got to go back to Netflix for that one. Sean Ryan. I remember the audition for that was pretty interesting. I think it was Thanksgiving, right after the strike that we had.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think it was the Friday. I think the strike ended probably middle to late November, and so we were able to audition, and it was a week before Thanksgiving, December 5th or 10th or something. They called me. They told me, you got it, and we were going to start shooting in Thailand in a month.
Casi nada.
After that, it's just been amazing, and got on the Penguin. That was crazy. Colin Farrell, one of my heroes in this business, one of my top 5 dudes that I look to as someone that I would love to aspire to be like. And, and then I landed this crazy role. I think I read for almost all of Taylor Sheridan's shows at this point. And then came this audition for Dutton Ranch, which at the time was called Rio Paloma.
That's so crazy because I was reading and I was like, what is Rio Paloma? Is it the same thing? They changed the name? Is that what happened?
So what happens is, in order to maintain, kind of like what's the word? You want to kind of keep things on the wraps, and you don't want to spill, you don't want to have anything get out. It's a working title.
Got it. Okay, because within my research, I'm like, ¿qué pasó con esto?
Yeah. So obviously it's the town that this takes place when they get to Texas, right? Mm-hmm. When Beth and Rip get to Texas.
Were you a Yellowstone fan?
But oh my God! So to be quite honest with you, I had not been watching Yellowstone, but prior to this audition, I kind of went in, and I did not realize, like the beginning of that show is just.
What, you didn't realize how many seasons?
So I didn't realize how crazy it was, because the beginning of the show is crazy. I mean, the opening scene of Yellowstone is literally this tragic crash, and there's a horse dying, and he has to put him out. My father rode horses, and he was a roper when I was a kid. Another amongst all the other crazy things my father did, and of course we were part of it, watching him. He was He was a single roper, so he had to rope, dismount, drop the calf, and tie the legs, and then that was his event. So we grew up 3-4 years, probably between the ages of like 9 and 10. So I had kind of an affinity, and I kind of knew about horsemanship, and he had taught us a lot about riding, but we never really got to ride. You know, we never really did it ourselves. Fast forward to, you know, years later, my adult life, and now my actual work, I get to touch on some of that stuff that I had done early on.
So you learned how to ride for the show, or did you?
We actually go there, and we went to cowboy camp.
Ooh, that's fly.
So
I like that.
And not only that, check this out. So we fell in love with these wranglers, and then they fell in love with us, the cast, and we had like a mandatory week or two of this cowboy camp. But while we were there, we were invited to ride anytime we wanted. So if I was there in Fort Worth, or, you know, the cast members, we were there with the group of us. We were there, let's say, a week. We had to shoot Monday and Tuesday and Friday. Wednesday and Thursday, we were up at Bronx Ranch in Weatherford, Texas, riding, roping, you know, cutting, doing all of these things, which were going to be some of the activities that we were going to have to do on horses. Something like mounting a horse and getting off a horse the proper way is very important to really sell this, because the cowboys are watching this.
I was just going to tell you, if I'm a cowboy and I'm watching, I'm like, this dude's a phony.
Real rodeo guys are. In fact, you know, we have the likes of Sterling English, who this kid is like a phenom rodeo kid, grew up with his father basically doing rodeos his whole life, and he himself is an accomplished rider, roper, and also an actor, and so he's kind of taking his skills and bringing it to the screen. But he was sought to because he has to rope on the show, and I mean, I'm sure they could have gotten someone that looks like him to do it, but there's nothing better than having him there. And we had so many great wranglers, so many. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, what that experience alone. I was probably riding more at that camp and at Bosque than I was actually on set. That's how many extra days we had there, and I think it really prepared us to kind of really become these people, these
locked
characters.
Into character.
Yeah, we locked in, and it was, for me, it was essential. It was so essential. I'm so grateful to have all that time. It was great.
You look good with the cowboy clothes.
Yeah, I think so.
Unbelievable. I would not say he's a Puerto Rican from the Bronx.
it's a big change from the things that I've done thus far. You know, I was happy to be out of a orange jumpsuit, to be honest with you, and happy to be wearing a hat, and happy to be wearing that crazy mustache, and you know, the lifestyle, the cowboy lifestyle. It's a really,
you like it?
It's humbling, man. It is. I love it. It's a world that not a lot of people know, but I'm from just something as simple as watching how courteous these people are. You know, these men and ladies, how much they value something as simple as like opening a big gate, holding the gate open while the rest of your clan goes through, and then you close it, and then they wait for you as we're riding together. It's sort of like we stay together the whole time. You know, you never leave each other's side. There's this unspoken rule of honor and respect for everything, you know, and the animals, not to mention, right? Like the animals themselves, you develop these bonds with these horses. That's uncanny to, you know.
You had a favorite horse?
So I got to ride some amazing horses while I was there. Mm-hmm. The latest one that I fell in love with, that I think I gelled the most with, was actually, he is already a star horse in another show, Bass Reeve, Lawman Bass Reeve. He was David O's horse in that show. So the white horse that he rides, Iceman, that was my horse towards the end. Yeah, he was unbelievable. So fast, good roping horse, good cutting horse, can do it all. And again, we just kind of synced. We had this thing going. First day I got to ride him, Elisa, his trainer, basically gave me some mandarins, some tangerines, and I would just feed it to him whole. instantly developed a bond.
Yeah,
So we were solid from that point forward. Yeah, he was beautiful. I miss him a lot.
You'll be back together with him.
Yeah. I think we're gonna go back soon.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby. How dope was that? Talk to me. 1 and 2, not just brothers.
So,
but
now, right, having this what I already knew. Of horsemanship and different style, right? These guys are obviously, that's a different style of riding. They're jockeys. That's horse riding. It's equestrian. It's not Western. It's unbelievable. I mean, to be honest, like my father and I, when we go to Puerto Rico, when I go there, one of the things we do is we watch old tapes of Secretariat. And my grandmother, when we were kids, would bet on these horses like almost every week. So I would sit with her with her little book.
Oh, I love Abuela. Was betting on the horses.
I was betting on horses.
Get your coin.
And I never got to see a race live, but esos dos muchachos de Puerto Rico, when I saw...
How fly was that?
It's unbelievable, man. It's like, us Puerto Ricans, we definitely... Coming from such a small place to have such an impact on the world, it's such a source of pride for me. Like, there's literally no industry. There's no, we are involved in every single industry out there. There's a good Puerto Rican. There is a Puerto Rican doing very well in almost every single industry. And as a Latino, as a Puerto Rican, that's such a thing for me. Like, I always look for things like that. That's the one thing I look for, and I feel like we're so well represented, and it's such a source of pride, being from such a small little place and having such huge representation. It's really amazing.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Our story is so steeped in the whole thing of being a Commonwealth of the United States, and that in and of itself is so complex, right?
It is.
And yet, at the same time, I feel for me, growing up in Puerto Rico and then coming here, that was one of the things that I felt that I had more of an association with the States, because growing up in Puerto Rico, you always talk about going outside, or yéndose para afuera.
Mm-hmm.
And even when my mom left, that whole concept of leaving and going out there, I was somewhat familiar with it, and I'm probably less fearful that I would have been than, let's say, if I would have came from a place like Colombia or Cuba or República Dominicana or Jamaica, because they don't have those ties. As one of the only Latin American country that has the kind of ties that we have with the States. So, for whatever that's worth, I've always felt that was a special circumstance that we had that's unique to us.
It is. But you have going on over there in Puerto Rico. It's very unique.
Very unique, very up and down. It has, the history, again, we would have to get on a whole different podcast.
That's a whole nother
That's a whole nother podcast. But having that in my repertoire is something that I feel has always benefited me.
Yeah, it's a one-up, como dicen.
Es un one-up. Eso es tremendo. That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Tiene tus papeles.
Sí.
Viaja cuando quiere.
Born American citizen, so grateful for that.
That's a blessing.
That flag and our flag are very similar. Very, very similar, And it's a source of pride, honestly. I know that,
it's
still maintaining our culture, and I'm not one of these people that, it's not about blending, right? It's not about erasing anything. It's about keeping our unique and our folklore and our culture as we are also, we kind of go parallel to the history of this country. You know what I mean?
No, it's true. Back on the island, you still have your food, you still have your music, you still have your traditions. Sunset,
the whole relations, the free association, right? I mean, I've always liked that term, right? You have people on both sides of that argument, but to have that free association means something. It's special, right? It's a very unique situation.
American Horror Story.
Yeah, so
what
now
you
we're
doing
here.
on American? That's my show.
So you know what?
Bro, I've watched every.
Yeah, so my wife was a huge fan. I'll be honest. I watched season 1. I think I got into Freak Show quite a bit, and there was a few others that
good.
Yeah.
Coven was amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
you gonna watch all of them?
Amazing franchise. Oh, I'm into it. Okay. I'm ripping through them.
Ryan Murphy is just a genius.
He, and his style and how he writes and the worlds that he creates, they're so. they're so fucking scary.
They are.
Like it's a, so they're really dark, right? And outside of AHS, the other franchises like Monster,
Glee,
and Glee, and my girls were a fan, right? So happy to be part of this deal. First and foremost, having just finished Dutton, right? Coming home and got into a little bit of a flow I've got on some pretty big calls that didn't pan out, but this one worked out. There's nothing better for an actor than having continuity, and it looks amazing on the resume, and it looks great. I mean, it's like for me, there's nothing more fulfilling than just having continuity at work. Beautiful. Because that's one of the pitfalls of what I do, right? You have your downtime, which in my case, there is a very good possibility, right, that we'll be working again soon. But there's no guaranteed yet. But to be able to do this now and to have the opportunity to, God knows where this is going to go, like to have choices is always a key for an actor. And the continuity. Again, I say it over and over. It's like, that's such a source of mental stability for me. It's like, I know that there's something happening. I know that I have a job. So,
you sleep good at night knowing that, right? You sleep
real good, and everything else is good. You have that mental, that state of mind. You're flowing, and everything else kind of lines up.
It does.
Yeah. I'm excited. And this year,
I'm excited for you. I'm like, get out of here.
And to give you a little bit of what's happening, I mean,
talk to me.
This is. I don't know what I can reveal and what I cannot reveal. So let me see what's up. But it takes place in New York.
Oh, get out.
And the stakes are super high, right? It's the 13th season.
Yeah.
13 episodes. I believe they're trying to do.
We're still on FX.
Yeah, still on FX, and I believe they're going for probably a Halloween type of deal release.
Well, it always drops around Halloween. Listen, always. I remember that.
There's so many good things that are lining up for this one.
You already started shooting?
All of the stars. Oh yeah, they've been shooting. We've been shooting probably a month and a half now.
Okay.
Every single one of the stars, the big names, Angela Bassett, Kathy Bates, Evan, Sarah Paulson. I mean, all of them, they're all back. They're all coming back. It is going to be, it's going to be super scary, and I can't wait. And I don't think I'm revealing too much. I think that's all out there. So no spoilers.
I think you're good.
No spoilers. But yeah, it's a amazing franchise. Of course, getting to work for another network with like FX. That is again adding to the repertoire, adding to the resume.
The resume
and
is
connecting
good.
with different people, different producers, and letting them see what I can do. So
and new fans
too,
because,
new fan base, and a whole different genre.
Because that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah, that's a whole nother world. So I'm super. Listen, I feel like I think it's one of my strongest suits right now. The variety and the different kinds of of different levels that I've kind of been able to kind of dip into. So I'm just super ecstatic and you got your cowboy
card,
continue.
you got your hood card, you got your Latino card.
Lo que sea.
You about to have your horror card, bro.
I mean,
forget SAG card. You don't even need that no more.
No, well, listen, you're always gonna need that. Always gonna need that.
Just messing with
but I just actually played a great. I just did a movie with Wanda Sykes.
Oh, I saw that undercard.
Undercard. Yeah, and I shot that in Puerto Rico.
That's
and I was going to say, the only thing I needed to land a nice big role in Puerto Rico in Español, whoever's listening.
Really?
In Español, and going out there and working out there, because I was able to bring my father and my family onto set and to kind of have them around while I was shooting there. But to work in La Isla, to be part of like a crew in La Isla and producers on the island, and just to be able to be seen and heard. I actually did a small independent with Rosalín Sanchez a few years back, Satos, which did really well. It actually aired in Guapa TV and in other different channels in Puerto Rico. So it was, my aunt who doesn't have cable or who has cable when it works, she was able to log into her local channel and watch my watch me en la televisión en español.
Ese es mi sobrino.
Sí, ese es mi sobrino. They were always so proud.
Who's the proudest in the whole family? Who's always gagging?
Man, of course, mom. Mom is unbelievable. Okay. Mom will be walking with me, and she'll literally stop to grab the person's camera. No, I can take the picture. I can take the picture for you. She's very forward.
That's what's up.
I think she gets more kick out of it than I do at this point. You know what I mean? But she's always been so supportive. My mom is. That's
a blessing.
Man, what a champion for not just me, but all my brothers. She's always high on her voice. Always high on her voice. You know, we Puerto Rican males, we have that thing with our moms. You know, we have our, dads spoil their daughters, right? But there's something crazy with this. Lo boricua con sus madres, you know, it's almost like it's a very strong bond, you know, and being the first son also adds to that. But man, she's always a champion. She always represents us. I'll tell you a short story that kind of like solidifies the way she is. My last name is Colón, with the accent on the second O. When I was playing high school football, they would mispronounce my names.
Of course.
When we were playing. Mom would not have that shit, because you know what the mispronunciation would be.
Yeah.
And that is not a good thing.
That's a bad one.
It's not a colon.
That's a bad one.
She literally would get up, walk up and correct everybody in the booth and let them know what was up. And like sometimes I could overhear, mira, hey, it's cologne. It's cologne. Okay? Like the perfume, it's cologne.
There you go.
She's a champion for us. It's always as a grown ass man, you know, it doesn't embarrass me to say that she's still like that. She's still like
hard
that.
For her kid.
Yeah,
You're still a baby in her eyes.
Yeah, I'm always gonna be that. I'm always gonna be her child. You know, I'm always gonna be her baby.
You know, and speaking of parents,
yeah,
the Christian Rivera Foundation.
Man,
can we talk about how amazing John Gungi Rivera is?
So John, to me, grew up with John in the Bronx. Okay. You know, I know I was actually one of my cheerleaders in Lehman High School had a Sweet 16, and John was the DJ. And we were in the backyard somewhere. I don't remember where, Castle Hill or.
Y'all go way back.
Go way back. And that was when he just started. Fast forward to all those years, music production, being behind some of the biggest names, big mogul. I mean, nightclubs and everything, right?
Yeah.
We reconnect again. And I wasn't aware of what had happened to Christian. I was not aware of that. I think I met him reconnected with him 5 years ago at one of the galas. It blew my mind what was happening. And when I connected with John and we spoke, you know, I said, look, man, this mission, you losing your son and you turning your life into this life mission of figuring out a cure for this DIPG cancer, which ironically enough only tackles kids, right? Like only hits kids. Before CRF, no shot. You had no shot of living. Minimal 6 months to a year. Since the beginning of inception of CRF, through the research, through the connections that John has built, through the momentum that he has created inside of the community, and the collaborations with MSK and Hopkins and all these other places that he has been able to garner support for, this foundation has actually saved lives.
He's out here doing God's work.
I mean, literally, this is what's happening. Like, kids are living longer. We have what we call our warriors who are living with the disease now from the support that this foundation brings to them, not only financial, but emotional and the connections. I mean, people, let's say someone gets diagnosed with this disease and parents don't have resources to go to. John gets phone calls every month from some new diagnosis somewhere. And he opens the door and he allows for the support and for the stream of all these other resources that have been, you know, made available to John and the research. And, you know, they're going to find the cure. I mean, we're in the process of really aligning this model. I mean, look, the craziest thing about all this is that without this is private money, right? Mm-hmm. If the government did 50% of the work that the CRF Foundation does for this particular cause, there'd be a cure right now. So I say that because thus far, it's been something like close to $3.5–4 million in the 17 years that John has had this, that this foundation has raised for research alone, for help for these families. Can you imagine if, the money that what's his name spent on the political campaign 2 years ago, if he would have been able, what was it, like $290 million? If some private person, if some government, whatever, someone stepped up and did that kind of financial support to what we're doing in this foundation now, we'd have a cure in a year. The doctors that we have on board, the people that are behind this foundation, they are getting it done. And so we're going to keep chugging along. Board members like myself and others are just basically any opportunity we have, we highlight what this foundation is doing, because as we grow, it grows. And just 2 days ago, we had terrible news from one of our warriors, who I don't really want to mention names because I don't know if I want, when they're not, it's not fun to get news that these warriors are starting to show signs of regression into the disease is kind of winning. But it's heartbreaking to hear those stories, but it motivates me as well, because this kid, these babies, all of them, they're months away from having this done. These trials, these medicines, which are basically just it's what they are. They're medical trials that are being used on them and others, are helping them live longer. So the foundation has an incredibly important mission, and we're gonna get it done. We want to grow this thing to be almost like we want to grow it to a national scale. We want the foundation to represent, to be synonymous with DIPG and the fact that there is a way to kill this cancer. We have the means. We just need the support to get it done. So again, what we do, one of the ways that we do these is obviously fundraising. The first event that we do every year is a walk.
That's
go back to the Boogie Down, and we do a 5K. We raise money, we walk, run, we do a virtual run, virtual walk, however people can do it in any way they want. But that is June 13th. Mm-hmm. That's a 5K. We go around Van Cortlandt Park twice, I think. That's our first event. Then we do a...
Can people still sign up?
Yeah, you guys could all join, and I hope that I get your support after I leave here today. Please join my team. I have an actual team that I'm putting together to, again...
Come on, tag me. I'm
going to tag you, and I'm going to put you guys on. You could do it virtually. You don't have to go to Van Cortlandt, although I'll tell you, it's really not... For me, especially, it's really nice to go to Van Cortlandt. I used to work at...
It is a beautiful place.
I used to work at Jake's Steakhouse right across the street. I used to bar. That was one of my first bartending jobs. Anyway, side note. But going back to the Bronx for me, as always, it's always a thrill. I used to ride dirt bikes and mountain bikes in the woods there in Van Cortlandt. Yeah. Crazy. But now I go back there every year. That's our first event, 5K. You can do it virtually. You can do it there. Whatever you want to do, walk, run, wheelchair, it doesn't matter. We need your support. We need this money because we need to save these kids. It's so important. The second
what time
event,
is the morning?
I think it's a very early. We're probably going to get going around 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. Right, so it gives you time to do whatever else you have to do on the weekend. Get up to the Bronx nice and early. You'll find parking. You'll find a way to get in there. And we do the 5K. We have a small celebration at the end. And it's it brings a lot of people together.
And the cause is... That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. We're really there to save lives. The second event is actually a throwback to our days. We do a cruise.
Why are you trying to age me? I don't understand what's happened with Berto today.
It's a throwback to the days of house, hip hop, and 80s music, and the city in the 80s was a special place. You know what I mean? Like hip hop, house, and freestyle were kind of like all, for me it was all blended because I couldn't really decide if I was hip hop. I loved them all, and so this boat ride is kind of like a throwback to those freestyle days. Mm-hmm. We do it's kind of like the circle lines that we do. It's another fundraiser that day.
What date is that?
To that. That's July 18th. That'll be the CRF boat ride around Manhattan.
There's still ticket available?
Well, we have tickets available. Okay. We have all these old acts. Last year we had Cynthia, and many more like
It's a fun time.
It's a fun time, kind of like a throwback. And then we move to our final event of the year, which is the gala, and that's going to be November 10th. It's a Tuesday night, Cipriani's. All out, and I'm telling you,
it's amazing.
So the events, they're all great events, but
yeah.
The gala, there's something specific and something very unique about that gala. You get to see the mission. You get to see how it affects the people. The families are there, families who have lost a family member, families who actually are living with a family member who has the disease. And these are, this is the night where you get to meet all of those people and you get to hear their stories, you get to hear the presenters, you get to hear how this foundation is actually helping and saving lives. And so that gala is November 10th. The tickets are, all proceeds go to CRF Foundation. We still have tables available. I have a table that I'm bringing. I'm looking to bring maybe another second table this year. I got some friends in the business, friends outside of the business, and it's a great cause. We have a lot of artists that donate their work for us to be able to raise money. We have a lot of different people that come out for that night, and that is the big one. It's, you bring your tux. It's a big to do. It's a big night for the foundation. It feels like you're kind of walking into like this. Everyone that attends is a star. Every person that attends is going to get to walk in. Yeah. You're going to take your picture. You're going to walk the red carpet. And the reason you're there is to save lives. Everything goes to the foundation. It's our big ticket event of the year. And we look forward to having you all there. So I'm going to be tagging you and letting you all know about it. So I hope I can get your support.
No, listen, we're definitely going to be there. If you're listening to this episode, I know a lot of the times when I go places, people are like, oh, how do I get invited to these places?
Yes.
And if you want to be involved in something, that's meaningful, that gives back, that saves lives, and feels just dope, and honestly, hearing the stories, meeting the children, and just seeing everybody that comes together, whether it be the doctors, the board members, it's a totally different experience.
Yeah, and to see how it's affected, and to hear the stories, right? To hear how these people have been affected, and to hear how the CRF Foundation has helped them.
Oh yeah, I love that part.
Even some of the families there have lost the person who was battling this disease, and so they continue to be present. They continue to go year after year because the mission continues until we find the cure. Like I said, this is going to happen, and so please come out and support. I'll have all this stuff posted on all my on all my channels. Obviously, there'll be links.
Post some stories.
Yeah, I'm gonna post stories. I'm gonna tag you guys,
and I'm gonna repost.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna make sure that I get all that to you so that your listeners can follow. And if you just want to donate, if you move to the donation, we appreciate it as well.
That always works.
Every dollar counts, and every single bit of it, believe me, is going out to help someone who is desperate. We, God forbid, right? We always talk about these causes like they're foreign to us because if we're not living them respectfully, we really don't know. No. But to witness what some of these people go through, that's a whole nother level altogether. To be able to empathize and put yourself in that mother or in that father's shoes, right? Or God forbid, in that child's shoes. It's not fun. But there's something we can do, so let's go out and do it.
Action.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Action is everything, and that's what we're doing. We're just getting after it and getting it done.
Pa'lante.
Pa'lante siempre. Pa'lante. Pa' atrás ni pa' coger el impulso.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
I really want to thank you, Berto, for coming today,
you.
for your representation of us as Latinos on the screen. You move like a gentleman. I love that. No craziness, no gossip, I don't know what you do behind closed doors, but I mean in the public.
No, gracias. No,
you'll be here representing us nicely.
Thank you.
Que viva Puerto Rico.
Sí,
que viva el Bronx.
Que viva el Bronx, que viva Puerto Rico, que viva Latinoamérica, que viva todo el mundo.
Todo el mundo, man. You're blessed. I'm happy
to
see you on screen, and may God continue to bless you, and may you continue to rise.
Yes.
Rise. Hasta que te den ese Oscar.
Ay, bendito. Ay, Dios mío, si Dios quiera. From your lips to God's ears. Same to you. Same sentiment to you. Thank you for giving me the platform, the opportunity to speak about my career, my current events, and, of course, the CRF Foundation, which is so near and dear to my heart. So let's pa'lante siempre. Let's keep going.
Gracias.
A ti. Gracias.
Come again.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.